Can Laika return to its former glory, or is the studio a one-hit wonder? You're watching Beyond the Triller's review of the Boxtrolls.
I want every box troll gone.
Let's go!
Who are you, boy?
I'm a box troll.
Then let's see you fit in your box.
Please help us.
You need to look like a proper boy. Yes. Yes. No. When you meet someone, you must look them in the eye and shake hands. What are you doing?
Back in 2009, Laika made a big splash in the animation industry and with audiences when they released Coraline, directed by Henry Selick. In fact, Coraline was so well received that Disney, who'd ended their relationship with Selick after The Nightmare Before Christmas and James and the Giant Peach weren't the commercial hits they'd hoped for, actually wooed him back to the studio. But Disney and Selick just aren't a good match, and after investing $50 million in Selick's The Shadow King, Disney decided once again to abandon the animator and the project. So now Selick finds himself back at sea, trying to stay afloat. So, why didn't he just go back to Laika? No one knows. Yet no one also knows if Laika can succeed without Selick. But they're certainly trying. Paranorman made waves as the follow-up to Coraline, but it also made about $20 million less at the box office. Also, have you noticed that Laika's films are getting weirder and weirder as the CGI competition gets more and more mainstream? Perhaps not the best business decision, but then Laika is a very unique and interesting business. See, Travis Knight wanted to be an animator, and lucky for him, his dad co-founded Nike. So Phil Knight invested heavily in Will Vinton Studios, which was already producing stop-motion animation, and Travis was hired. Then, a few years later, Phil bought the studio outright and gave it a new directive, feature animation. Travis is now the president and CEO of the newly named Laika, sits on its board of directors, and is a lead animator on all of its films. Perhaps the reason Selick can't come back to Laika, or won't, is because this is the sandbox Phil Knight purchased for his son. But if the Boxtrolls doesn't get the animation studio headed back in the right direction, what has to change? Their creative approach, their creative personnel, or both? And what about the hard truth that there simply doesn't seem to be a lot of money in stop-motion animation? That would be okay if it was art, giving Laika a sort of higher purpose. So, are these Boxtrolls a commercial home run, a work of art, or a second misfire for Laika post-Selick?
You know, I think that this is art. It just happens to be art without a soul. Because while I respect the Boxtrolls at pretty much every level intellectually, I really respect it, I just couldn't connect with the film. I wouldn't even really call it a film, or at least from an entertainment standpoint. I would say it's more like a really cool art exhibit. And it boils down to two problems: the script, which I'll get to in a moment, and also the stylization. But let's start out with the script. There are some very clever moments in the film, and there are laugh-out-loud moments, but it's not structured, I think, correctly for maximum enjoyment or connecting with the audience. And the biggest problem is that there's no set protagonist. Who is this story really about? Who are we supposed to connect with? Is it Eggs, the boy stolen by Boxtrolls? Fish, the Boxtroll that raises him? Winnie, the little rich girl that discovers Eggs? They jump back and forth between all these characters, and also while fleshing out the villain, I think, pretty well. Also, some very adult concepts here. I don't want to give anything away, but some things that I was surprised are in an all-ages film. But, you know, again, it speaks to the artistic qualities of the project. If you were to take a young child to a modern art exhibit, you know, you would have a little bit, you would have your guard up to begin with, because, you know, when you're dealing with artistic expression, it doesn't quite follow the same rules as mainstream entertainment. So that was a big problem for me, the script, with no set protagonist. Then also the stylization. It was so stylized that at some points it was distracting. And also I felt it was often stylized just for the sake of being stylized. I would be like, why would you do that? And that makes no sense, and this isn't serving the greater purpose of the film overall. It's more just to be funny or quirky or cool. I just couldn't quite get it. But I really do feel there's a lot of talent on the board here at Laika and on display here in this film. The voice talent is amazing. Elle Fanning, in particular as Winnie, is the standout. I've never seen her so animated in her live-action work. She did a fantastic job with the nuances of her voice, conveying personality. I was really impressed, and I wish that she would do this in her live-action work. I also think Ben Kingsley was very good as the villain. Jared Harris is Winnie's father. And then Richard Ayoade. I want to make sure I pronounce his name correctly. Ayoade. I wrote it down. Richard Ayoade is very good. He's paired up with Nick Frost here instead of Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg has a very small role, but he was very, very good. All of them were great. And the animation's very good. Very well done stop motion animation. And I wish that Laika would consider applying their skills to a adult horror story, maybe like a Jack the Ripper type film, Victorian horror, something like that. The targets maybe a little bit of an older demographic that would be interested in going to see a art exhibit that's really cool. I think that could maybe be a commercial hit for them. But to quote a recent film, Inside Llewyn Davis, I still continue to see no money here when it comes to Laika's output. And I hope that I think that they shouldn't go away. I think they're, as I said, undeniable talent on the board here, and I wish they were just a little bit more business savvy, because it could potentially be the undoing of them as a company. So I'm not writing them off just yet, but I think they're on thin ice. What do you think of the Boxtrolls? What do you think of it in terms of art versus entertainment? What did you think of the voice work, the animation? And what do you think should be the future of Laika? What would you advise the company to do going forward? Thank you so much for tuning in, and you can check out some more episodes right now.